Hi, welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika, and here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. So today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the state of the world and my place in it as a witch, and hopefully giving you some suggestions if you're struggling with this as well. I did a complete shut off on news and most media for the past, I want to say about almost 4 or 5 days. Over the weekend, it started on Thursday. Over the weekend, I went further north. I live in Arizona, so I went further north to sort of get away. I was in a Prescott area, and it was, I just ignored some of the stuff that would remind me about politics, like all the Trump stuff, because I get those people up there, that's their deal. But looking at just the natural resources in the land itself, that was fulfilling, that I enjoyed, and that's what it was about. I was at like over five, I want to say over 5,000 feet elevation, the sign said, so I was up pretty high, so the air is a little different up there, and I needed that. It was grounding and centering for myself, so I appreciated that, so that I was able to come back into the current state of things and process that. So my suggestion is, if you can do that, maybe you can't, go some far up into the mountains like I did, but maybe you can instead disengage for a little bit, even if for a day, especially honestly if you are a melanated person. There's this idea that maybe you're supposed to be showing outrage right now, and you do feel it, but not all of us. You feel outrage, you feel hurt, you feel a lot of emotions at once. Not to mention, we're still in the middle of a pandemic, so those anxiety feelings, so there's all of that. So for some of us, it's hard to just start expressing one type of emotion, just being angry or being very sad. It's hard, so it's overwhelming because there's too many emotions going on at one time. So disengage, so that you can allow your spirit, your mind, to, in the background, do the processing, and then you, in the forefront, once you've engaged, you can be more aware more aware of the processing of the information that you're getting. It's important. It's important, and I say specifically to those of color, because again, there's an expectation of how you might be feeling right now. No one's saying it to you. We tend to put that on ourselves. I'm just saying. But you might want to go ahead and just, I don't care if it's just for the day or a few hours. Don't make the mistake of keep taking in every image, every meme, every video. You gotta stop. You gotta stop. In the news, you gotta stop and just disengage. And it's not running away, it's not ignoring, it's not being unkind or not caring anymore. It's self-preservation for your psyche, for your spirit, for your soul. It's important. Step one, do that first. Then once you come into everything like I just did, and you come full blast in and reading and watching and absorbing of what's going on right now and what has happened, you can process a little bit better. Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt or it doesn't make you less angry, but you can handle those emotions maybe a little bit better. It still feels very heavy. We all feel it. It just feels so heavy right now. We'll get through it. We'll process it. And once we do that, or while doing that, justice and then peace is that simple. If there's no justice, there's no peace. Another thing, just to go a little bit deeper in this, is we have to begin to ask ourselves, all of us, what does justice and freedom really look like for Black people in this country? I'm a practicing witch. I don't follow the mainstream as far as spirituality goes, and probably a lot of other stuff as well. I know that I already feel othered in the other category for that alone. So I do realize that I'm in a country where I have the freedom to practice things like this without, legally speaking, harm. Legally no one can do anything to me. So I enjoy that freedom. But the freedom to just exist without incident or possible incident, to always be aware of my facial expression, my husband, my son, daughter for that matter, that we always seem friendly, especially the men, the men, they always seem friendly and they speak, so to put everyone at ease. They can't have a public display of passion, of being very upset and passionate about something without people becoming afraid. So that's not being free. All I can say to that is I don't know what that looks like, because we've never really experienced it without having to look, if you're at work, school, or in a public place, too much emotion, any of us, if we're too emotional in any capacity, it draws attention and incident. So yeah, I don't know how that really looks without that, because I've experienced that and compensated for that my entire existence. Since I was aware of my existence, I've had to compensate for that. I think that's why I get so intolerant when it comes to not expressing myself spiritually and practicing my witchcraft publicly, or for those who seem to be offended. I deal with enough BS. I worry enough about my husband and my son just being human and existing in the world, that the last thing I'm going to do is take on a new reason for someone to have an issue with that may cause incident, and I can lose someone close to me. Their life could be taken, or my life, or our livelihood is threatened, or something along those lines. So that's why I have really no tolerance for people who come at me about practicing witchcraft. I'm black, leave me alone. And by the way, if it's a black person doing it, how dare you? We got enough stuff against us. We have enough people who don't want us to exist. Who gives a flying F that I practice witchcraft? Who cares? Why do you care? I don't care. I don't care what you do. Trust me, I've learned to not care a very long time ago. You should learn too. We got bigger issues going on. So, this video is definitely a little bit different for me, because I am processing those emotions on everything that is happening. I'm still stuck on the original video. The protests are a separate issue, and I don't care what everybody else says about how people need to protest. They're a non-factor. But one of the things, I just sneak peek, I'm reading this book here, Sacred Woman, a guide to the healing the feminine body, mind, and spirit, right? Great time to have this type of book, right? So I just got into it. It's my little bookmark. I just got into it last night. I just picked it up because the Barnes & Noble was actually open here, and I didn't feel like dealing with Amazon and waiting, but I have been thinking about getting this book because I see a lot of people in their book hauls on Instagram, and even some Facebook in the witchy areas that I belong to or frequent. They have this book. So it's not a new book. I think it's been out maybe 10 years at least. So it's not, yeah, I think it said copyright 2000, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, it's been around for a minute. The reason that like I said, I'm doing is because it's kind of getting popular right now, and I think it's important, to do a bit of a book review. Yeah, copyright 2000. So I thought it would be good to do a book review because since a lot of people are getting this book, maybe we can, kind of talk about this and dissect it a little bit, and I can kind of give you some an overview or summary, so to speak, of my thoughts on it, and like I said, just kind of break it out a little bit more. So I can tell you just from reading in the first couple pages, it goes into Kemetic principles or Kemetic Nubian philosophy. I'm still in chapter 1, and I think everything else is more about how to apply those principles and all that sort of stuff. And I've heard these things. I think we've probably all, the 42 laws of Mayat. I've heard of this a long time ago. I've heard of this, but I'm going to go ahead and read it with fresh eyes and look into it and share more about the book. So I'm going to try to speed read this thing and take notes so I can share it here. So I'll have a whole separate video about that soon. The other thing is my seedlings, and I'll just show you that I planted in my prosperity spell. I don't know if you can see, but they are growing. There's green popping out. Now, parsley is taking its sweet time. There's just one little stem green sticking up. Sage is growing while the thyme is beautiful, and the cilantro is definitely taking off. Let me show you this because I'm so proud, mama. Look at this. So I put my intentions into this little herb garden here, and eventually, this will get transferred over, but the roots have definitely taken, especially the cilantro. You can actually see it. Maybe you can see the roots, taking effect. So I'll be transferring these into pots very, very, very shortly. But I wanted to, get this going here first in my very cheap plastic cups. But it works, right? Recycling, upcycling. Anyway, but my intentions are in there. So again, as the plant grows, so do my desires into reality. So that makes me happy because that lets me know progress. And I'm already seeing some progress, so I'm excited about everything that I've put the energy out into the universe for, and it's all going to come back to me. So I'm excited. So I'm finding my joy in the midst of chaos. So, that's another thing you want to do, find joy in the midst of chaos. Spells for what's happening right now, ritual, yeah, I'm all for that. If anybody knows any group, I haven't seen anybody talk about this yet, and again, I've not been engaged, so that's probably why. I'm sure people are doing stuff, but any sort of group spells, I'm okay with it. Share a link in the comments if you know anybody, any groups or anything like that participating in any sort of like group rituals for justice and for peace and things like that. I'm all for it. Protection, I'll be doing that stuff on my, or not, I am doing that now. I already started. Protection spell, first and foremost for me and mine and my family, and then for those at large who are out there protesting, and on the side of right. So yeah, just a protective shield around those people, their body, no bodily harm comes to them and their psyche, because it's crazy what's going on out there. So they need to be protected. That's pretty much where I stand on all of this, and the suggestions that I could give you if you're wrestling with this. If you are someone who is a person not of color and you're struggling with what to do, the term ally is not contrite. That's a real thing. Be an ally. If you're in a position and you would like to protest, go do that. If you are still supportive but you don't want to protest, sometimes, I'll be honest with you, just validating in social media, on different platforms, people of color, and sharing information that where you stand, that you stand on the side of justice for Black people in this, in general, not just in this country. That is something that, it may seem small and not very significant, but for people of color who are seeing the complete opposite more often, that actually is super helpful. And also teach your babies and teach your grandkids, so that we don't keep perpetuating more of this with each generation. teach your own how to be on this side of right for all people. Do that. Alright, so thank you for watching. I'm Mika. This is Leap Taken. Go ahead and like the video, please. Please. And subscribe, please, if you have not already. And if you have, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and do a little reading here and drink some tea, keep our energy, you know, high, vibing high, but at the same time being very aware of what's happening in the world and actively participating in seeking justice whatever way we can. All right, thanks again for watching. Bye.